Go.
Alright, this is a typical move-out inspection after the tenants have vacated the unit and Apex Property Management has come in to do a move-out inspection. We normally start in the kitchen, and one of the first things we look at is the cleanliness of the kitchen. The stove, we'll look to see if there's any burnt black residue, which in this case there is. This is going to be typically an hour to clean the oven with the black residue here. Pulling out the drawer, checking the drawer for cleanliness, and underneath the stove. And you can tell here there's some dust, hair. Normally, if there's any crumbs, this is a place where you're going to have your ants or your bugs accumulate from the items left underneath the stove. So that's why it's important to get that clean. If you can look here, you're going to see where there's still food particles that are left on the side of the stove and on the countertops. All of this is going to be cleaned. In most cases, this top part will lift up where the spills from the burners accumulate. All that needs to be cleaned out, and at times the stove will be pulled out and cleaned along the rails here and on the countertops and around the back. Also on the exhaust hood, you can see here that there's a layer of stickiness, probably from frying or whatever was cooked, and then it's also accumulated up under here on the hood, and all this is going to have to be cleaned out and degreased, which is time consuming. Also in the kitchen, you want to pay attention to your cabinet doors. Along here, it gets very sticky from items from the stove. All of these need to be wiped down and degreased. Along in here, you're going to have food particles, and you want to make sure the inside of the cabinets are wiped down and cleaned. So it is quite a task to get all this degreased and cleaned. It's more entailed than just a really quick swipe and wipe. It takes a little bit of time to clean that out. What we also do here is we pull the refrigerator out, and you're going to notice on this refrigerator there's several streaks, and there's a lot of food particles from the counter that were splashed over. This on a refrigerator with all this texture in here, to get in there and scrub that out, that's about another hour for the inside and the outside of the refrigerator. And then also, if you take a look behind the refrigerator, what's spilled back there, all that's going to need to be cleaned out as well.
Go.
When we look inside the refrigerator, we're looking at the inside of the shelves. Here you can see all these shelves are going to need to be wiped down. You're also going to check underneath to make sure anything you lifted up that hit the bottom of the shelf didn't leave any sticky residue. In here you can see another why we say too it takes so long to clean the refrigerator. These screws are normally removed. This is lifted out, and anything that's melted and went down into these holes is accumulated on the bottom of this crisper shelf, and all that's going to be cleaned up. All the top, the sides, all around is going to be cleaned. The seals on the doors up here, all this is going to be cleaned out. Top is going to be wiped down. And that goes for the same inside the refrigerator. Inside, top. A lot of times when people look and they think, well, it wouldn't take very long to be clean, they're just looking at the bottom flat surface here. They tend to forget about the sides and about the tops of everything that has to be cleaned too. We got the crisper. That all has to be cleaned and wiped out. Underneath the crisper drawer is going to have to be cleaned out. And the grill gets cleaned out as well. So there's quite a few items to the refrigerator that get cleaned to ensure that it's ready for the next tenant to go. We also check these crisper bars to make sure they're attached, they're not bent, they're not damaged. All the doors, everything operates properly.
Good.
Next item we always check is the dishwasher. You always want to make sure that the outside of the door is clean, along with the inside of the door. We check for food particles down along the sides, on the rails. Make sure all the wheels are attached. As you can see here in this unit, we have a set of chopsticks that were in the drain. And you can also see there's labels and other items in this drain. So this is all going to have to be cleaned out too. On the outside of the unit, what we're checking for is the door here and down on the kick plate. here you can see that there's dirt here from splattered from the floor. So all this is going to be cleaned and wiped. And while we're down here, you can look at these doors and see that something was probably spilled on the floor, and all these cabinets along here are going to have to be cleaned. You can see food stuck here. So all of these cabinet faces have to be wiped. Underneath the sink, a lot of times there's a lot of items left. All this needs to be vacuumed out, cleaned, and wiped down. We'll also clean and wipe the inside of the doors. So when we talk about kitchen cleaning, it's very extensive and it's very time consuming. A lot of people think they can just get by with an hour or two. This kitchen here, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4. We might be in here 4 hours alone, just cleaning and wiping all these drawers, cleaning these drawer fronts out, wiping all the cabinet faces down. And then you have the sink. The sink's going to be polished. They're going to have the stainless steel cleaner to get this back to a full luster, bright and clean. Any items that might be in the garbage disposal need to be removed. This one sounds pretty clear, but just remember when you're cleaning, if you take your dirty mop water, pour it in the sink, any rocks or anything that go into the garbage disposal will have to be removed, and that could lead to a tenant charge. So make sure that the garbage disposal is always clear before you leave. And then again, the countertops will all be wiped down and cleaned. On the walls, any food splatters that are on the wall, those need to be wiped down and removed. Any excess food splatters that can't be wiped down will have to be painted over, and that would be a tenant charge for excess of food. Another item that's often missed is the baseboards. Make sure you run a rag down along the baseboards. Make sure they're all wiped and they're all clean. And that's the kitchen. The second biggest place to clean during move out is going to be the bathroom. In the bathroom, when we come into the bathroom, we're going to look inside the drawers. A lot of times there's hair left inside the drawers, so all the drawers are going to be vacuumed, cleaned, and wiped down. Same here on this cabinet. You can notice that there's hair that was stuck to the side of the cabinet. All that needs to be wiped down and cleaned and ready for the next tenant. Same in this here. A lot of times there's soap or items in here that leak, so this will have to be completely wiped down. And the outside of the cabinets along here will get wiped. Counters get wiped. Again, the sink will get polished. We check, make sure that the sink plug works and that there's no clogs. A lot of times, a lot of hair will get into the sink, and that'll cause a clog. And again, that'll be a tenant charge to unclog that sink. Light bulbs, a lot of times you get a lot of hairspray and dust on the light bulbs, so it's good to take the light bulbs out, give them a wipe down, and polish up the chrome. Wipe the mirrors down, make sure there's no streaks or spots. Like this one has a few. This is just delaminating of the silver backing on the mirror. That's normally not a tenant charge. That's normal wear and tear. You want to make sure you take a wipe around the back of the splash board. Make sure that's all clean. Toilet needs to be clean. A lot of dust will collect on here. A lot of times the best way to clean the toilet is with just a dry paper towel to get all the dust off, and then come back with a cleaner and wipe it off. But you're going to want to make sure all around the toilet seat hinges are clean, down around the base of the toilet, that's all clean. Make sure you clean the seat around the bowl and on the bottom. Caulking is normally left to the maintenance people to do. That's not a tenant responsibility. And again, you want to go along the baseboards, make sure those are all clean. And you can see on the cabinet here there's some spills along the side, and all that's going to be have to be cleaned and ready for the next tenant. On the bathtub, you're going to want to use a good cleaner that doesn't leave a lot of residue. This one doesn't have a whole lot, but I know a soft scrub's a good mixture to clean that. And you're going to scrub the tub, make sure there's no markings, no dirtiness. Make sure you scrub the corners where soap bottles and shampoo bottles have sat. Polish the chrome, and make sure you wipe down all the walls. And always, just like the kitchen, make sure you do a good job of wiping the floor, wiping around the doorknob handles, wiping the doors down. If you look here, you can see on the back of this door where this needs to be wiped down and cleaned in this area right here. And also the exhaust fan, these pull down relatively easy. You want to maybe put those in the sink, rinse those out, make sure all that dust and lint and hair is removed from the exhaust fan. A washer and dryer, when we inspect the washer and dryer, we look for any soap scum, any dirt, soil, hair around this area here. You want to make sure you wipe down and wipe down inside the lid. You can move the drum back and you want to make sure all this is wiped down. All that's cleaned and removed. You want to wipe down the front of the dryer and washer. You want to make sure that your lint trap is clean. You want to make sure any lint on the outside of the door is removed. Anything inside the door on the bottom around the seal is all cleaned. A lot of times people will set their soap bottles up on top of the washer and dryer. That needs to be cleaned and all that soap removed. A lot of times you can see here that this one has had a lot of items spilled alongside the washer and dryer, so this washer and dryer is going to have to be pulled out, which is a little bit more extensive. I mean, it can take probably, we're looking at probably maybe up to an hour just to get this cleaned up right now, the floor and the machine itself. So that's going to be quite a job there. Again, you want to make sure you wipe down all your outside of your doors, any fingerprints, any smudges in the closet. You want to wipe down all your shelves, make sure there are no dust, no items left. And that will take care of the cleaning in your laundry area. In the bedroom, what we're going to look for, we always check both sides of the door. Again, for cleanliness around the door, any hooks that are in the door, 3M hooks, which have proved not to work very effectively on drywall. It will remove the paper. You can see, for instance, on this one, somebody had put some tape. So there is some sticky residue that will have to be cleaned off this door. And then again, down here, you can see around the doorknob, it's dirty and needs to be cleaned. What we'll do is also check the closet doors. Any sticky residue, tape marks, any holes. Make sure all the closet doors are clean. In the closet, we'll check the shelves. Make sure the shelves are clean. Give that a wipe on top. One of the biggest parts in the bedroom and probably the most time consuming is the blinds. So you want to make sure the blinds are all cleaned. It's good to take a damp rag, close the blinds, and wipe them down. Any slat that has excessive dirt, just one by one, each slat, making sure they're clean and dust free. Another item is the window tracks. We want to clean everything out of the window tracks, vacuum, wipe down, no dirt whatsoever in here. Because what happens is the dirt will sit in the track, moisture will accumulate, and then it just becomes a bigger problem over time. So these tracks are in fair condition, but they're going to need a little bit of attention. And you also want to wipe your windowsills down. You want to make sure there's no dust. Baseboard heaters, we're going to vacuum with a brush over the top of them and then take a damp rag, wipe the top of them down, try to clean the inside out. What happens with the baseboard heaters, you get a lot of dust build up. Turn them on in the winter time, they make a lot of soot, which will darken the walls, and then the walls will have to be repainted. Light fixtures need to come down and need to be cleaned. You can tell that there's several dead bugs inside. You'll notice on this light there's two different light bulbs. There's a white light and then there's a yellow. I don't know if they're both CFLs, but the light bulbs need to match. Smoke detectors all need to be in place and working. If they're not, that will be a tenant charge too for disabling a smoke detector and not keeping the batteries replaced, which is in the lease. And also, one last one is around the switch plates. You want to wipe all the switch plates down, make sure those are all clean all around the switch plates. those are clean. Another good thing is to remember is you can see here that maybe somebody had put their feet on the wall, so this wall is going to have to be repainted. And a lot of time, keep your bed at least 6 to 8 inches away from the wall, so the comforter doesn't put dye on the wall and make wear marks on there. So that's the cleaning of a bedroom. Okay, cleaning the living room. First thing we're going to do is we're going to check the sliding glass blinds. We're going to make sure they're all operational. All the slats are in. We're going to check for cleanliness. If these slats are dirty, remember each one of these has to be cleaned individually, and that can take up to, several, 15, 20 minutes just to get through these sliding glass door slats. We're then going to check the glass. We're going to check the frame of the door, make sure that's all clean. And then last but not least, we're going to check the tracks. The tracks need to be vacuumed and wiped out to remove any dirt or grime or buildup in there. We're going to check down here along the window. You can see here that there's some buildup in here. All this is going to be cleaned and ready for the next tenant, as well as this track back in here. You can see here the cobwebs have built up. All that's going to be cleaned for the next tenant. Just like all the other rooms, we're going to check the switch plates for cleanliness. We're going to look at the walls. We're going to check the outlet covers. Again, same with the baseboard. We're going to vacuum, wipe that down. And then like the bedroom, we're going to check the blinds for cleanliness and operation. And clean the window tracks. These are a little bit in worse condition than the bedrooms. You can see the cobwebs built up here, and you can see the buildup in the window right there. We will clean the inside of the windows. We're going to check the screens, make sure there's no screens or holes or push-outs on the screens. And we'll check the window locks, make sure the window locks are functioning properly. So this concludes what Apex Property Management looks for on move-out inspections. We wish you the best of luck.